Okay, welcome everybody. I'm going to call the meeting to order, that being the regular council meeting of Warwick Township Council, May 6th, and as always, 3:30 p.m. start time. I'll remind council disclosure of pecuniary interest or conflict of interest. Does anybody have one they'd like to declare at this time? Seeing none. Also like to welcome everybody who's tuning in through our Warwick Township YouTube link. And now I'm going to do our acknowledgement of ancestral lands. We acknowledge that the Township of Warwick is located on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, as well as the many Indigenous nations in Ontario whose footsteps have marked them for centuries. We also wish to acknowledge that we are situated on Treaty 29 and Treaty 25 territories signed by Chippewa chiefs, and we offer our respect and gratitude for these lands. I'm going to go to number 5 on the agenda. That's the minutes of the previous council meeting, that being the minutes of April 15th. 2024. Did anybody have any questions or comments on those minutes, council? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion. Deputy Mayor Kallenberg and Councillor Westgate, all in favor? That is carried. And Madam Clerk, I don't believe there's any business arising from those minutes. No, thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll go to number 7. This is scheduled meetings and events. There's a lot there in 7A. Did anybody have any questions on 7A at all? No, seeing none. We also have 7B for information as well. Anybody have any questions on 7B or any questions at all? Okay, if you ever do, please see the clerk or the deputy clerk at the appropriate time. Let's go to number 8 if we can on the agenda, council, and that's councilors' commitments and items. As far as commitment dates, does anybody have anything they wish to update? Yes, Councillor Morris.
Yeah, I will be out of town November 1st to the 11th.
Thank you, Councillor. And Deputy Mayor Kallenberg.
I'll be away from August 16th to the 20th.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Anybody else? Councillor Westgate. June 6th to the 10th. Very good, Councillor. Very good. Thank you. I'm now going to go to Councillor's items. I'm going to start with the Deputy Mayor. Deputy Mayor Kallenberg, did you have any today?
No, I do not.
My way back. Councillor Westgate.
I have nothing for today.
Councillor Morris.
I have nothing either today.
Okay. I'm going to keep it easy, and I have nothing for today either. Let's move on to, actually, maybe I will just on items. As we all know that we did have a by-election last week, and we do have a new MPP elect, Steve Pinsonneau. And I did have an opportunity to exchange emails, or pardon me, texts with Steve, and he states that he's looking forward to working with all of us in the next 2 years or so. So we look forward to meeting him. And what my intent is, once he's sworn in and gets his feet beneath him, I'd like to invite him to a township council meeting so he can introduce himself and we can talk about the issues that are important to us. So that's the item I had for today. Let's go to number 9 if we can. Staff reports. The first one, 9A, is a verbal update from Amanda Gubbles on Community Emergency Preparedness Grant recipients. Amanda, please.
Thank you, Mayor Case. This verbal report is provided in follow-up to a council direction when council was advised that Warwick was unfortunately not successful in our grant application to this. There was a request to report back on who in the county received funding and to request a follow-up. So I just wanted to close the loop and let council know that we did request a follow-up with the ministry, however, received word back that they were not providing that option to any applicants. So I haven't been able to obtain any feedback on our application directly. We also have coordinated with all local emergency management personnel in the county. While the whole list of recipients is included on your agenda, specifically in Lambton, Brooke Alvinston, Petrolia, and Plimpton, Wyoming were successful. There were other applicants from Lambton aside from Warwick who applied that were not successful. So I'm just providing that for information. Of course, we will keep watching all grant opportunities, learning from our experience and looking to capitalize on them as they become available. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Anybody have any questions for Amanda? Follow-up information is useful. It's always good to be able to see who was successful and who wasn't and being able to track that. No other questions? Could I have a motion to receive and file the written portion of the report? Councillor Morris, thank you. Councillor Westgate seconding that. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Next is 9B, and it's a verbal update from Ryan Cheney. Now, Ryan is not with us today. Amanda just informed me that he couldn't be here today. So Amanda's going to give his report. So this is the Park and Recreation Canada Summer Jobs Grant Application Information. Amanda, if you'd be so kind.
Thank you, Mayor Case. So on behalf of Ryan, pleased to report that the township was successful in our application to the Canada Summer Jobs Program this year. And that's a program that supports funding for summer students. Specifically, the township applied for support for 3 summer student positions, but was successful in achieving funding for 1 position in part. So while the federal government has provided a grant equivalent to $8.28 per hour of one summer student in Parks and Recreation, which equates to just over $2,300. So we haven't been successful in this grant for a number of years. So it's great to achieve some funding, and wanted to make sure you were all aware, as we did send a follow-up to our MP Rude last year when we were unsuccessful seeking some feedback. So very glad to be offered this year. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much, Amanda. Anybody have any questions or comments on this? As Amanda said, we were shut out last year, and I think maybe the year before that as well. And so it's good to finally see that Warwick is getting some recognition and some funding from the federal government. So job well done to staff for making sure that happened this time around. Can I have a motion to receive and file the written information, please? Deputy Mayor Kallenberg, seconded by Councillor Morris. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We're going to go past delegation and timed events. We have 2 that we will come back to. Council, can we go to 11A, and that's the GL report, and the Q1 stats are there as well. Any question on 11A, the GL report, Council? Okay, seeing none. I'm also, the quarterly variance is there too. Did anybody have any questions on the quarterly variance report? Very good. And then, of course, we have our accounts payable. Did anybody have any questions on 11C, the accounts payable? Yes, Councillor Morris.
Yes, I just wondered, I see the Watford Fire Department is in there for an expense. Have we got a budget for their 150th anniversary? We do? Okay, thank you.
Did you want to speak to it then, perhaps?
Yes,
Trevor?
council approved a budget of $20,000 for it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So being there's no question on A, B, or C, I would entertain a motion to approve all 3 with one motion if council saw fit. Deputy Mayor, you're making that motion? Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Let's go to the consent agenda if we could, council. That's number 12. And there's a variety of things. There's actually information. There's from A to F. Did anybody have anything they'd like to specifically speak to? Yes, Councillor Morris.
Yes, D, the review of the annual donation policy. I wonder if we could discuss it after we do 13A, which is more requests for donations.
Yep, we could come back to that, Councillor. That's not
Thank
a
you.
problem. Not a problem at all. So that, just for the record, will be 12D, will be discussed at the appropriate time as per requested by Councillor Morris. Anybody have anything else that they would like to take out of 8F? Saying no, then I would entertain a motion to receive and file everything except D. Councillor Morris is making that motion, seconded by Deputy Mayor Kallenberg. All in favor? That is carried. Okay. Let's go to 13A if we could. Action correspondence, council. There are 3 pieces of action correspondence before us today. I will read them out individually, and if there's one that you would like to take some action on, please raise your hand and we will deal with it. The first one is 05-58, and that's the Guardian Angels Golf Tournament. Something we've given to in the past. Councillor Morris?
Haven't we given $100 for the donor? And that's why I wanted to get it on. Maybe we could put it right on the donors list.
Okay. So are you
I'm-
for now making a motion?
Yes, I am for the $100.
Okay. Do we have a seconder to that request at this time? Deputy Mayor Kallenberg. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. The next one is 05-59, and this is an invitation to a member of council from the Blythe Festival. I think they've been doing this for years. I guess what I would say to that one is if there's anybody that wishes to go, please let staff know. Unless there's somebody here that would like to state that they'd like to take the opportunity now. It's a municipal night they have down there. I'm not seeing anybody, so we'll leave it at that. If you do decide you'd like to go, please let staff know and they can deal with it. And then the last piece is 0560. And this is a request for financial support from the Lambton Plowmen. We've always supported them, I believe, in the past too. How does council wish to deal with that? And I guess maybe the question I've got, has it been the same amount? Maybe Trevor, I don't know if you know or not, has it been a standing donation time and time again with them for a certain amount of money?
I believe it has been. I believe they have been able to remain stable for years. So as long as I've been here, it's been the same amount.
So I guess we're not sure exactly what that amount is, but we could look back and see what that was. 250? Very good. Okay, how does council wish to deal with that piece of business?
I'll
Deputy
make a
Mayor?
motion. We approve that.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Seconded by Councillor Morris. I was just gonna say, Councillor Morris brought up the fact of putting some of these on the annual. So is this one that we'd like to put on the annual list? So we should probably have a motion to do that. We also think in the other one, Councillor Morris as well, the Guardian Angels. I'll let you speak to it.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we put the Guardian Angel golf tournament and the Lambton Plowmen's Association request for donations onto our annual thing for the same amount we always give. 102.50, please.
Very good, sir. Do we have a seconder to that? Deputy Mayor Kellenberg is seconding that. Any further discussion on this one? Councillor Westgate.
Just wondering about the Guardian Angel one, if we put everybody that comes for a donation for charities and stuff, we're getting a little, we can have a whole lot. I know the Guardian Angels is a good one, but
Yeah, no, I agree with you. You know what I mean?
it's not like the plowman that does something for the county every year. I just question how many of them we want to put on.
And I think the issue is still that we have the opportunity every year to look at the list anyways, regardless. I mean, I think the whole thing is they come back, the plowman especially, every year they're here asking for the same one. And it makes sense. And I mean, the Guardian, I think they still would probably, just the way they work, they would probably still make a request. They'd be on the list. If they did make the request, well, perhaps maybe they could be taken off. That might work at that particular time. So I think it was just trying to simplify it at the end of the day. So unless somebody else likes to speak to it, I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. So I'm gonna go back if I can to 12D. Madam Clerk, so the review of the annual donation still is something that was requested and it was pulled out for those two items. Should we still have a motion to continue on with that, or were we good just to leave that as an action?
Thanks, Mayor Case. If there could be a resolution to receive and file as information, and perhaps with as amended might be appropriate given the two approvals and adding to the list today. We'll make sure that gets done and is tracked accordingly for future.
Very good. Thank you very much. So you just heard the clerk, so I'm looking for a mover potentially, Councillor Morris, and a seconder, Deputy Mayor Kellenberg. Everybody in favor? Oh, pardon me, a question from Councillor Morris. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, the only thing that bothers me a little bit is the medical center. We've been at $2,000 for years. We give $5,000 to the Taxandria Falcon Soccer Club, and our medical center, we're only getting $2,000. I know they're in tough financial shape. I'm not saying for this year, but I think we should maybe look at how we're going to budget for that in the future.
So like any of these organizations, they always have the opportunity to come back to council with a different request. maybe additional funds, or maybe even some cases, perhaps even less funds, which I don't see that happening anytime soon. But that, the door is always open for them to be able to do that. So this does not hamper that. So if an organization that needs some assistance from Township Council always has the opportunity to come and speak to council and amend maybe the request they were making before, change it. So I don't think that's a problem. Am I correct, Madam Clerk?
No, you're absolutely correct. Thanks, Mayor Case.
Okay, if that satisfies council, I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. All right, let's go back to 13 again, and let's go to 13B if we can. And this is a proposed updates to the building permit fees. And there's a report attached with a recommendation. How does council wish to deal with 13B? Or is some information requested? Councilor Morris?
Well, I think we need to definitely put them up. We can't be in a losing position here. It's kind of slipped since 2015 by the looks of it. I really don't want to hit it all in 1 year. But I think we need to do at least a 10% tax increase or 10% increase to the fees, at least. That's just an opening bid.
Deputy Mayor?
Just curious if there's any specific items on the list that are losing more money than others, or if there's anything that sticks out as an issue.
Madam Clerk?
Great question. According to our preliminary review, a lot of the expenditures were incurred during and after construction that had started during COVID. So while residential does play a role, it's also commercial buildings. But part of the idea of bringing this report forward was that if council blessed kind of moving forward with a review, then we could consult with our chief building official to identify those areas, conduct some averaging across the county, and propose some new fees for council's consideration. And if I may, although not in direct response to your question, this was a recommendation directly from our chief building official. She flagged this and wanted us to bring it forward. So just for your information, thank you.
Yes, Councilor Westgate.
I think we should go ahead with option 2 here. That's the best one. They could bring it back to us and we'll get it settled.
You're making that a motion, Councilor Westgate?
Yes.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder to that motion? Councilor Morris? Any further discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Let's go to 13C if we can then, council. And this is an agreement, additional enhancement of officers through the Lambton OPP contracts. And there is a recommendation that the report CL 0624 regarding the provision of additional service under the Community Safety and Policing Act be received, and that bylaw 24 of 2024 authorizing the execution of an agreement for the provision of the additional police services be approved. So that's the recommendation before us. How does council wish to deal with that recommendation at this time? Deputy Mayor Kallenberg.
I'll move the recommendation as presented.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Seconded by Councilor Morris. Further discussion of any? All in favor? That is carried. Let's go to D if we can then, council. And this is the LCDS sidewalk maintenance proposal for 2024. And there's a recommendation that council approves the Watford Downtown Business District sidewalk cleaning proposed agreement with Lambton County Development Services, LCDS, at a cost of $1,428 plus applicable taxes, be recommended for approval by bylaw and executed by the mayor and CAO clerk. How does council wish to deal with this piece of business? Councilor Morris?
I move the recommendation.
Councilor Morris, do we have a seconder? Councilor Westgate, you're seconding that? Any discussion on this one? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to E, and this is the Brickyard Line tar and chip tender. There is a recommendation that Warwick Township Council approves the recommendation of Spreed Associates to award Levis Contracting Company Limited, the contract for the Brickyard Line tar and chip replacement for $337,162.50 excluding HST. How does council wish to deal with this piece of business? Councillor Morris.
Yes, Andrew, I got a couple questions. How much over budget was this? I didn't,
87.
well, that's what it is 87?
Yeah,
And how much? Is that just doing from Forest Road to Ellerton?
that's correct. From
That's
Forest
just
Road.
one block.
That's, yeah, it's a longer block. than-
Yeah, I
than
know,
typical, But
but-
yeah, it's one block.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on this recommendation? Yeah, Andrew, please.
I will add to that, there is a very short section on Hickory Creek line between Forest Road and the bridge. But very short.
Okay. Councillor Westgate.
I'll move we go ahead with it, accept the recommendation, providing Trevor can find the extra 87,000.
Thank you, Councillor. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Morris. And I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And I'm sure that Trevor may be able to bring some suggestions to us on maybe how we can do this in the future, Trevor. I'm sure you probably got a couple of things going through your mind, and we'll leave that at that for now. So thank you, council. Let's go to number 14. We have new business, and the one piece of new business 14A here, really, council, is just sort of a reminder to everybody that we are looking for our next Senior of the Year award winner for Warwick Township, as well as others that we've just recently approved a new policy for to recognize other individuals that give a lot back to our community. So I know in talking to the clerk this morning, this was her way of putting it on there for people to bring maybe some suggestions back to the next meeting for our Senior of the Year, as well as the other four individuals we'd like to recognize for community service. So if everybody could take that away as homework, bring back some suggestions the next meeting, that would be greatly appreciated. Okay? Very good. Thank you, council. And as usual, we're running about 6 minutes ahead of time here. So I'm going to take a brief 6-minute recess, and we'll come back to timed events right at 4 o'clock sharp, council. So a recess for about 6 minutes. Thank you. Okay, welcome back, everybody. We're now at timed events. We're gonna have a little change. We're gonna reverse A and B. So we'll be doing the drain after. We have Debbie Tugwell, who's with us today, and she's making a request for fence height exemption. So welcome, Debbie. And as we always do here, we turn the floor over to you to make your comments, and we'll ask any questions at the end, and we'll go from there. So welcome, and the floor is yours.
Perfect. Okay, so you can hear me?
Yep.
I can hear me. Okay, so I wrote it down, so I'll just reread, and you probably have already heard a lot of this in the letter. So, hi, I'm Debbie Tugwell, and I'm here with my two, Brett and Tiffany. We moved to Watford at the end of September. At that time, the building inspector addressed the one side of our fence in the backyard that needs to be replaced as it's wobbly, and there's a pool on the other side. To our right side, left side, and the back of our yard, all three are different fences, including the styles, the material that's used, and the heights. The fence at the back is 7 feet. I can see into their kitchen and dining room area when I'm in my kitchen and in my living room. So I close my blinds so that we and they have more privacy. When they are on their deck, I have been on mine, although I took it down. It's like there's no privacy at all. I was hoping to have had this addressed in council meeting in April, but it didn't happen, so here we are. We're requesting an exception for an 8-foot fence at the back of our yard and down the right and the left side. We have an experienced contractor with over 35 years lined up. I can give you his name and contact information if you're interested. He and his guys are ready to start removing the old fence to replace it with a new fence once we get the approval from council. We have been in touch with GTEL. The locates are all have been all located and all completed, and we have the green flags from all involved. We aren't sure. This is my thing. We sure aren't trying to be antisocial by asking for this height of a fence. We want some privacy, especially with having my two vulnerable adults with anxiety, and at times when I'm not at home right with them. I want them to feel and know they're comfortable, safe, and they're protected. Besides, we're putting in a basketball system and a putt-putt golf. It would help keep the balls in our backyard. We also will be investing in a hot tub in the winter. There again, with their anxieties and disabilities, our home and yard needs to be, once again, their safe haven. We're in the process of getting a building permit so that we can get a porch at the front of the home to sit out, to be part of the neighbors in the neighborhood. So we're not antisocial by putting an 8-foot fence up, you know. I have addressed the neighbors behind us to our right and to our left regarding removing the previous or the present fence and replacing it with this pressure treated fencing that's 8 foot tall, asking for the exception, and all the neighbors are supportive. I have here a list of their names, their contact information, address, their signatures, so you can contact them if you want, if this helps you make the decision. We're excited, looking forward to replacing this fence so we then can begin to build the patio and to create our new Tugwell Resort at our new home. Thank you.
Thank you very much for
You're
your
welcome.
presentation, Debbie. Council, does anybody have
The
any
names.
questions on the request? Anybody have any? You were done, Bria?
I'm done. I just have their
Okay.
names of the neighbors, and
Okay.
address and signatures if you
Very
want
good.
that
I
online.
think right now we're okay with that.
Okay.
I do appreciate you have that
Of course.
information though. Did anybody have any question of our requester today? Councillor Westgate.
It's my only question is, what is the height limit now? 7 feet? 6? Okay.
Amanda, will you maybe speak to this? We talked about this today.
Sure. Thanks, Councillor Westgate. Great question. So our current bylaw says side perimeter fencing will be 6 feet, no more than 6 feet high. I do want to advise council that I did run this request of Debbie's by our chief building official to see as they issue fence permits if they had any questions or concerns. And I was advised that if council approved an exemption, they would have no concerns. So just wanted to share that with you.
Councillor Westgate.
No, that's fine. I have no concerns, but I just wondered how much higher we were going, that's all.
Very good. So obviously the due diligence has been done by the ratepayer, the homeowner, as well as our staff. Does council have any other questions on this request? Do we want to take action now, council, or do we want to talk about it later on? I guess that's the question I have. Councillor Morris.
I have no problem moving on with it now. So all three neighbors are in agreement with the looks that'll be on their side and yours. Then I have no questions.
So could I take that as a motion, sir?
Yes, you may take that as a motion.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder to that? Councillor Westgate? Any further discussion, if any? Seeing none? Call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming. Thank you. Okay, council, now we're going to go to 4A. We're going to back up to 4A, and it's the quarter revision of the Butler Drain. I need a motion that Warwick Township Council proceed into the quarter revision for the Butler Drain 2024 bylaw number 16 of 2024. Who would like to do the honors? Deputy Mayor Kallenberg, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That is carried. Have any written appeals been received, Madam Clerk?
No, none.
Thank you. Does anyone present have any verbal appeals? I'm looking out. I'm not seeing any. Andrew, do you have any comments today?
No, the only thing I'll say on this drain, this doesn't happen too often, but 100% of the costs are being borne by the property owner. So no other residents will see any charges.
Very good. Thank you. Since there are no appeals filed, the following resolution is to be passed. A motion that the quarter revision for the Butler Drain 2024 bylaw number 16 of 2024 be closed without changes to the report and that we go back into open session. I need a mover and seconder if I could. Councillor Morris, thank you. Councillor Westgate is seconding that. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. With me, the right spot here. Okay, so council, that takes us to the end of our regular open portion of the meeting today. I'm going to ask for a motion to move into an in-camera meeting of council pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended for the following reasons. Number two, a matter regarding personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. Number three, a matter regarding proposed or pending acquisition of or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. Section 239. 5, a matter concerning litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. Number 6, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for the purpose of section 239. And number 7, a matter in respect of which, a matter in respect of which a council, board, committee, or other body may hold a closed meeting under the Act, section 239. So, could I have a motion, please, council, to go in camera? Councillor Morris, do we already have it? No. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Kallenberg. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you.